โ Website. Yeah, he created it.
No big whoop.
No
Whatever.
big whoop. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but he's taken it to the streets while keeping an eye on the streets. Wall Street. You know, paper buying just became fun.
Yeah, boom.
But then you hear a voice of someone who's like, I told you not to do these interviews in my office.
So, first of all, it's like, how many of these has he tried to do in this guy's office? It's not his office. Ryan is such like, oh my God, he's such a cheeseball.
Well, and then the camera pans down and you see a nameplate on the desk that says Thomas Dean. And we got a fan question about this from Miles Peterson. Does the name Thomas Dean have any significance? Yes, guys. Tom Dean was our PA, and that nameplate was in Tom's honor.
Okay, Jenna, I think the voice of Thomas Dean is our editor, Dean Holland.
I think it is too.
Right?
Yes.
I would have sworn he was in the room with me when I heard that. It's got to be him.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Well, I want to take us now to the scene with Andy and Dwight. I love that Dwight has his little champion. That Andy is so rooting for him in this. He's gotten really into it. And he says to Dwight, you know what? You need like a noise or something for like when you make a good sale, right?
Yeah.
He's got his dry erase board. It's Dwight against the computer. And now they're brainstorming what's the noise that goes off whenever Dwight makes a sale, right?
Yeah. We think we need a noise.
Yeah. Here's Andy's suggestion. He could say, kudos. Job well done. A chime, a bell. And Jim is peppering in these little smart-ass comments. He's saying, how about zippity-doo-dah? A gong? And Dwight's like, ignore him. Here's what we're going to do. Here are the keys to my car. Go out under a whole bunch of pelts. There's a bear horn. Get that.
And he does.
Yeah, he does.
Andy is going to blow a bear horn every time Dwight makes a sale. Well, now we go to a scene that I've been waiting for. Angela and Phyllis, they're unrolling a banner for the launch party. But Phyllis has printed a banner that says lunch party.
Angela is furious. She is so pissed off. She actually looks at Phyllis and says, what is wrong with you?
Oh, Angela is in rare form.
She's in rare form, and there was a deleted scene that might give us a window.
Okay.
About this. First of all, we know the breakup, right? She's still mad about Sprinkles. She's ticked off. Well, there's another layer to it. There's a talking head where she says, tonight, my party will be broadcast out to 5 other states, which means it will be compared to Denise Stim's party in Buffalo.
Oh my God.
There is a party planning committee rival.
Denise Stims in Buffalo?
Yeah. And Angela hates her. And they get their parties compared.
What is the backstory between Angela and Denise?
Oh, it goes on from there. She throws major shade at her. She's like, Denise, you know what? We can all defrost hors d'oeuvres in a microwave. All right, that's what she does every party. And also, Denise, you're not fooling anyone with those curls. We know you get a perm, okay? Like, oh my God, Denise Stims. So she's got her breakup. She has her cat in the freezer. Phyllis cannot handle one simple task, and her party will be compared to Denise Stims. So Angela is not having it.
The stakes are high for Angela.
Yeah.
Well, this cuts to a Phyllis talking head where she explains that basically she's going to keep her cool and she is going to try out some new tactics for dealing with Angela. She has printed out all of this advice on how to deal with difficult people. She actually says she Googled how to deal with difficult people. Well, you know what, Ange?
What?
Obviously, I had to Google how to deal with difficult people.
I wondered if you would. What'd you find out?
Well, what I found out is that a lot of the tactics that Phyllis uses in this episode are the advice for dealing with difficult people. Asking the difficult person how they're feeling, like saying affirmative things like, I could see why you might be upset, like things like that.
Well, I'll tell you something. If someone had made a banner that said lunch party and then turned to me and said, how do you feel about the fact that the banner says lunch? I would probably say, I feel like you're a dumbass. That's how I feel. Like, that is not something you say to someone who's already annoyed with you. So that cracked me up when Phyllis said that. I was like, if I was Angela, I would still be pissed off. That would not have helped my situation. And, you know, it's not helping Phyllis that Kevin is now involved in this discussion. And then Michael walks up and says, nobody cares about this party anyway, booster seat. Shorty joke number 2. Shorty joke number 2. And I want you to know that Steve improvised a whole bunch, and I never knew what he was going to say. And there's bloopers of me cracking up. But there you go. Angela's ticked, and no one is helping.
Well, this is when Angela has her talking head that I love so much. When she says that she's been asked to plan a party with only a $65 budget and 4 idiots that are doing nothing but weighing her down. Oh, and her cat is still dead.
Yeah, and the entire world will see it, including Denise Stims.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think we should take a break because when we come back, Dwight is going to fuel up for his big competition against the computer.
He's got to. He's got to
Big
refuel. Yeah, big day.
All right, we'll see you in a sec. Office Ladies is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. You know, you may not feel depressed or at a total loss, but if you're feeling even a little bit off in your relationships or in your work, in your day-to-day life, it could be a sign that you should talk to somebody, and online therapy can help.
BetterHelp is professional therapy done securely online from your home. When it fits your schedule, you can really shape how you want to share, when you want to share, and get the help that you need.
You can start communicating with a therapist in under 48 hours. You can schedule weekly video, phone, or live chat appointments. And the BetterHelp therapists have a very broad range of expertise. And sometimes that is not locally available. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/officeladies.
That's betterhelp.com/officeladies.
All right, we are back. And like we said, Dwight is fueling up literally. He's squeezing some kind of power protein gunk in his mouth.
Yeah, it's a power gel. Of course, I had to look it up, Jenna.
Oh, it's called power gel?
Well, their power gels are energy gels, right?
Okay, yep.
And I looked them up. Here's what they are. They're like a liquid carbohydrate, and they're used by endurance athletes to fuel their training. Like when you see guys running marathons or, you know, the triathletes or these people who do the whole like Tour de France, you know?
Yep.
And they're squeezing these little tubes of things in their mouth. That's what this is. But it's for high endurance athletes to like replenish everything that's been depleted from the running and cycling. Jenna, there's so much online about these. Oh my gosh. There are multiple YouTube videos about how to eat one, when to eat them.
Are you supposed to eat them before doing the endurance activity, while doing it, or after?
While doing it, like when you get depleted, you know?
Okay.
And talk about your random history in your search engine.
Yeah.
Jenna, I was watching a video of these two guys cycling in England who were talking about their energy gels. I'm like, what am I doing watching these two guys in England? Oh my God. Also, there's a ton of like options for you if you want energy gels. And I found one that I really feel like Dwight inspired.
What is it?
It's called Beat Elite.
No!
Yes, Beat Elite energy gel.
You know, this is what Michael needed during Fun Run.
Yes, not fettuccine Alfredo.
No.
He needed a Beat Elite.
Well, Dwight is being very annoying. He's annoying Jim. He throws his gel packet onto Jim's desk.
Yeah.
Jim has to get rid of it. So Jim goes up to Pam and says, "Do you want to pull a prank on Dwight because he's being super annoying?" And Pam she's torn. She's like, well, I mean, he's going through a breakup. But then the bear horn.
Yeah, so then Dwight like fires off the bear horn. It's really loud. And Pam's like, you know what? I'm in. What are we doing?
So Jim hatches this plan where they are going to direct message Dwight as the computer system. They're going to send him messages as if the computer has come alive.
Yes. And you know, this is perfect for Dwight.
Yeah.
This is the perfect prank because, of course, Dwight would entertain this.
So when Pam is typing to Dwight these DMs, we had some fan questions from Amanda McKnight and Matthew Lister. When Pam's typing all of the instant messages, was it Jenna typing with her crazy good typing skills, or was it the computer? Well, I'll tell you. It was both. So when they do these scenes where something specific has to show up on the computer screen, they've created a program where it doesn't matter what button you press on the keyboard, the words come up as they should. So you can't mess it up.
It's kind of fun.
It's actually, yeah.
Yeah, it does. You can hit any key. You can hit the space bar 5 times. The sentence will type.
Yes. And at the end of the scene, you hit escape, and then you would usually hit like F1, and then it starts the program over again. So they're super fun to play with. It sort of takes you back to your childhood when you would want to pretend like you were doing something. I always love these little programs. But at the same time, I was personally compelled to type out the words correctly. But this caused a problem because it was too many strokes of the keyboard, because each time I hit a key, it translated into more than one letter, right? So it would be like, in order to run this program, I would have to type 24 things, but to actually type the sentence, it would be more like 48. So I had to like really hold back. It was tough for me.
I know. Yeah, because your integrity as a typist, you're like, that's not correct. That is not how many keys you hit to spell the word hello.
That's right. And I made my living as a transcriber for many years.
I know.
So I need to type what I hear. And it was real hard.
Well, you did it.
I did it. I got through it.
You got through it. But it's a really cute runner for Jim and Pam, and it's making Dwight crazy.
Well, he says in his talking head, sometimes computers come to life. But he is not scared. It is the computer that should be scared, because he has been salesman 13 months out of the last 12 months. You heard him correctly. In February, instead of a raise, Dunder Mifflin awarded him 2 plaques.
I really feel like Dunder Mifflin has overlooked Dwight.
I agree.
I mean, he is clearly the best salesman and has been for a long time, and he never gets upper management, and this is going to go on for years for him. Now listen, he's salty. He's a salty character, but I feel like Dunder Mifflin could do better by Dwight. There, I said it.
I'm glad you said it.
Thank you.
It needed to be said.
Michael is now really needing the ladies and Oscar to weigh in on his outfit for the fancy party he's going to go to. This shirt is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It's bright purple.
It has like a sheen to it.
Yeah.
Like light bounces off of it.
And it is so tight. And Oscar has a great line. Oscar says, "Is this why I'm in here?" And he just gets up and walks out.
And no one likes it. All the women are like, no. Also, did you notice how long it is?
Very long. He insists that it's European cut, which is the same thing he said about the woman's suit that he bought. Michael is very attracted to this idea of a European cut. He thinks that this is style.
Yes. It could also be what you say when something doesn't fit you right. Like the next time I put on a pair of sweatpants that are like too long in the crotch or something, I'm going to say, oh, it's European cut.
European cut. Well, then Jan calls in the conference room. And it's clear that Michael is unsure about taking this call, but he does take the call.
He does not want to talk to her. And he takes the call. She does not want to go to the party. She doesn't want to go.
But why? All her friends will be there.
She's like, Michael, I was fired.
Yeah, she's like, they're not my friends. So Michael asks if he could bring Carol instead.
She's like, what? And he's like, fine, I'll find someone I didn't sleep with.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to go alone. That's the point.
Well, there is a deleted scene. Michael and Jan go on to have even more conversation. And Jenna, it's all delicious. It is all amazing. If I could, I would have asked them to leave it all in. I am telling you. She says, you know what I want to do? I want to make a pot roast. Why don't we stay home? I'll make a pot roast. Oh, do you know what I did today? I went to Costco. I got some more Zen. Oh, and I bought a bike. Guess how much the bike was? And he's like, I don't know, $60? She goes, why would you say a bicycle was $60, Michael? Why would you say that? And he's like, I don't know. And she goes, it was $500, Michael. Ah.
Oh my God.
It's just more of a window into their relationship, and I can't get enough of it.
I can't get enough either. It's all so good.
She bought a bike at Costco. $500. What is she doing all day?
Wait, did she buy the bike at Costco or she went to Costco?
She bought the bike at Costco.
Oh, I see. Well, listen, the competition is on between Dwight and the website. Dwight is not doing well. But in the meantime, Pam and Jim, they're in the break room. the flirt room. They're having a snack. 12 minutes, 2 seconds, baby carrot alert. John Krasinski's eating those baby carrots again.
Oh, he's back on his healthy kick.
Well, yeah, he's no more popcorn. He's back to the carrots. Michael walks in and says, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Because I've got 2 tickets to the party in New York. You want to go?
And they're like, you know what? Why not? They're like,
Let's
sure.
go to New York
together. Let's do it.
But then he says, all right, great, but you're going to have to duke it out. Just let me know who wins. And that's when Pam realizes, oh, one of the tickets is for Michael. And then she says, as soon as he leaves the room, not it.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So Jim is going to go to this fancy sushi New York launch party with Michael.
I bet he's so excited. Now Dwight is on the phone and he's yelling at a client for ordering through the website rather than through him. And Jim and the computer both insist that Dwight seems worried, right?
Yep.
It's like the computer is like heckling Dwight. It's kind of trolling him. And Dwight writes a very long message at 1301 in binary. And I looked it up on the internet.
I looked it up as well.
Okay, what did you find?
Well, Pam says that Dwight said, why don't you 011 1111 011 011?
Yeah.
I ended up on Reddit.
So did I.
Wow. Oh boy.
Yeah.
And someone said that in the way that Pam reads it, it means nothing.
Right.
But if you add back the zeros that I guess would normally be there in binary code, that it spells F-O. Like F off. Why don't you F off? Did you read the same thing?
I read the same thing. There was a lot about the 2 ASCII codes in binary. It's like a little detailed. But according to that Reddit thread that I think we both read, hi Reddit thread folks, Dwight's telling the computer to F off.
There you go. Well, now Angela is very angry about some spoons.
This is one of my favorite scenes I ever did with Phyllis for the whole run of the show. I was texting with Jen. I was like, Jen, I love this scene so much. And she said it was one of her favorite things to write, this whole exchange. And I want you to know we could not stop laughing.
Well, I know that, Angela, because you can't see me, but I sat at reception the entire time you were filming this scene.
Yes. And we were cracking up.
It was so funny.
And it's in the bloopers. And at one point, I was finally holding it together. And then Jen Salata, who's sitting on the sofa by reception, starts laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jen. And so if you watch the bloopers, you will hear Jen laughing.
I'll tell you the line that got you guys every time. I remember it so clearly. It was when Phyllis says the word tone.
She couldn't get through that word.
Couldn't say tone.
She couldn't say tone without laughing. And then I started anticipating her little mouth saying tune. And then I couldn't keep it together. Sam, will you play this scene? It's at 13 minutes, 32 seconds.
I asked for assorted cutlery and I got back spoons. These are worthless.
I want to understand what you're saying, but it's difficult for me when you use that tone.
Phyllis, these are spoons. Spoons have rounded tops and are used to scoop things. What we need are forks, which have prongs or tiny spears on top. And we need knives, which have blades. Do you understand me now?
I have to say, you can't see it when you listen to that clip, but one of my favorite moments is the hand gesture you make when you say blades. You do this little scoopy thing with your hand. You're like, blades.
We did a few takes, and in one take I did forks like this, like I did like prongs with my fingers. But that looked too weird. So then I thought I'll only do one hand gesture and I'll save it for the knife. So good. And my cheerleaders out there, you know that. You know blades, candlesticks. Come on.
Wait, that's actually a hand gesture in cheerleading for a blade?
That's blade.
Okay.
Yeah, candlesticks.
Candlestick is a fist. Why did these need special names?
I don't know. It was cheerleading camp, and who even knows if it's universal? Maybe it was just my cheerleading camp.
Are there any more? I'm dying to know.
Well, jazz hands.
Jazz hands I get. That's a whole thing. I mean, you have to like put all your fingers out and kind of like flutter your hands. I mean, that makes sense to me.
And then this is candlesticks.
Candlesticks is fists.
And then blades.
Blades is just your palms up.
Yeah, like what I did in the scene.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So like when you're doing cheerleading camp and you're choreographing your cheer, in your head, are you thinking like, blade, blade, jazz hands, candlesticks, blade, blade?
Yes. And you're like, ready. Okay.
Blade.
Candlestick. Candlestick.
Okay.
Blade.
Got
We're
it.
doing this and no one can see us.
No
We
one
look
can see us,
ridiculous.
but I am enjoying it immensely.
Okay.
This is
All
another
right.
thing Angela did in high school, everyone. Also a cheerleader, in addition to all of the musical instruments and sports that she played.
Well, I was the mascot for football. But
And
then
the mascot!
I
What's
was
going
a mascot
on?
for
Did you
football, and then
sleep?
I cheered for basketball. No, but I told you my mom's theory is keep them busy. They stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and also nothing good happens after midnight.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
Well, listen, Daryl is about to deliver some paper to Kelly. And there's some flirty flirt that happens in that annex.
Well, Dwight is so furious that Kelly ordered off the website. He's like, do you know what this means? And he's yelling at her, and Daryl's like, step off.
Well, listen, she explains. It's really cute. You take the paper and you put it in a little shopping basket, and it makes a cute little sound.
This is all Kelly could ever hope for.
Yeah.
Online shopping. Like she has arrived.
But Daryl comes to her defense, like you said. And suddenly she's not missing Ryan so much, is she? There's a little moment here.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into some sabotage.
Did you say sandwich?
Dwight gets out this little red box. He unlocks a lot of things, and then he unlocks this little box. And he explains that when he left Staples, he took some of the Staples leads as a souvenir. He doesn't know why he did it, but maybe it was to use them one day, and he's going to use them today.
Yeah, he has got to beat the computer. In his mind, if he beats the computer, he wins Angela back. I think that's where his rationale is.
Yes, exactly. And it's working. He calls up and they're like, how did you get this number? And he's like, it's not important, but do you want to save money on paper? And they clearly say yes, because he starts logging all of these sales, and it's a very big deal.
It's a big, big deal. And while this is happening, Michael and Jim are getting ready to leave for the party. Michael sort of does this sing-songy and tells everyone that he'll be back tomorrow, the way he does his little sing-talky thing.
Yep.
And
He's leaving in Jim's car.
in Jim's car, and he tells everyone they can leave early, and Angela's like, no, they can't. I've been planning a party for weeks.
Yeah.
You can't leave early. And then he makes fun of her, and he's like, you must be this tall, or you may not ride the roller coaster. Shorty joke number 3.
That's my favorite one. That was my favorite.
Jen is like, Ange, I do not remember writing those. I don't think they were in the script, and I think Steve was just having fun.
Well, after Michael and Jim leave, the competition is over and Dwight wins. He beats the computer. Like you said, Angela, he really does not get the attention he deserves from this company. He beat a computer.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, he had to use the stolen leads, but he beats a computer.
he beat the computer. Andy starts blowing this bear horn like crazy, and Angela is not having it. She's just like, just stop it.
Well, when I watched this episode with Lee, at the end of it, he said, I have one question. Did that bear horn really make a sound? Or did they put that in post?
Okay, well, here is my memory of this particular moment. Now, I don't know about the other moments where it went off, but in this moment where I walked by, I was just supposed to walk by and sort of like glare at them and cruise on past. And that whole thing where I'm like, give me that, give it. That was all improvised because Andy, well, Ed as Andy, is just kind of having fun with that thing. He's like, bah, bah. He's doing a dance. Bah, bah, bah. And so I had to grab at it a few times to get it. So I just sort of improvised all of that. And I can tell you he was really shooting it off in that moment.
My memory is that they gave Ed a bear horn and Ed had a great time with it. Yeah. I remember it going off constantly. This reminded me of when they gave Rain the keyboard in the Dundies.
Yes.
Do not give these guys things that make sounds.
No props that make noises. They cannot stop using them.
It was really funny.
So yeah, I was just supposed to walk by and just kind of grab it and give him a look. And that's like me legitimately trying to grab it out of Ed's hand. Like, give it here.
Well, now we cut to the car where Michael and Jim are driving to New York City. And I noted something in this scene.
Was it when Michael blew a kiss to Pennsylvania?
Well, he blew a kiss, one for him and one for Jan.
I know. I thought it was the cutest thing. My kids, whenever we leave a city, say goodbye to the city. If we're driving. Yeah, we wave goodbye. Like if we're driving to the beach or up to the mountains, they're like, goodbye, Los Angeles. Aww. Goodbye, beach. And to me, it was this very sweet, childlike moment of Michael.
Well, I'll say the moment that struck me in the car was when Michael says to Jim, you should come over for dinner on Friday night.
Oh, girl. I was like, ding, ding, ding. It's coming. Dinner party is coming.
And also that deleted scene you talked about where Michael and Jan were on the phone and she's like, we should make a roast this Friday. All of these things. I feel like that's planting a seed for her ossobuco. Is that how you say it? Ossobuco?
Her 5 hour.
Yeah.
With no snacks out. Who does that?
Who doesn't offer a cheese plate? We'll discuss later.
We will get there. Yeah.
We will have a lot of discussion about it. But I felt like this planted the seed, this idea that Michael was going to want Jim and Pam to come over for dinner. Michael has also purchased a gift for Ryan. He wanted to get Ryan Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss, but it wasn't available, so he got green eggs and ham. It's kind of the same thing, he says.
And what is Ryan going to think when he opens this? And it's green eggs and ham.
I don't know.
Also, Oh, the Places You Will Go is such a personal message to someone. And again, Michael doesn't have this kind of relationship with Ryan, but is convinced he does.
Yeah, and also, hasn't Ryan already gone to the places he'll go?
Well, there's that.
I don't know. Well, finally on this drive, Jim asks Michael for the exact address of the party. And Michael says it's at a bar called Chat Room. And there's a password to get in.
And Jim's like, Michael, you're invited to the satellite party. That's our party.
Well, first, he just pulls the car over.
Yeah.
As soon as he hears this, he's like, I don't even need to hear anymore. He just starts slowing the car down and he's going to do a Yui. He's like, Michael.
Yeah. And Michael is on the phone to Ryan. He's like, what do you mean? I'm already in the city. Part of the city. I'm in the city. How could you do this? He's so upset. He feels so rejected.
Yeah.
And he throws the book out the window.
Yeah. He's not going to give that book to Ryan anymore. And now Michael is going to have to go back and celebrate this launch with the rest of the folks in the conference room.
The losers at the satellite party. And Dwight is convinced that winning and beating the computer, that Angela's going to be impressed. It's going to be the thing that turns the tide. She's going to want him back. And she is not impressed. In fact, she's annoyed by it. And she has a talking head where she's like, how do you tell someone it's over? You send them a notarized letter, right? But what if your ex is your notary?
Yeah.
It's really perplexing. And she makes a big deal of going up to the front reception and telling Pam that she would very much like to date a man.
Mm-hmm.
And if Pam could please set her up.
And she says it loud enough for Dwight to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dwight is just, he's just brokenhearted, and Pam sees it. And so in this way that we have these little moments with Pam and Dwight, Pam sends him a little direct message as the computer, congratulating him on his win and telling him that he is the superior being. But it doesn't help much.
It doesn't. Dwight's heartbroken.
Yeah.
It's heartbroken, and that is the first part of Launch Party Part 1.
Yes. Next week, we're going to see Angela's party in the conference room, and Michael is going to take the pizza delivery guy hostage.
Michael's going to be Michael. Michael's going to be in rare form.
And Andy is going to make a play for Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff next week.
There's one runner and deleted scenes before we go I wanted to tell you about, Jenna, because I think you really should watch it. You would get a kick out of it. You personally, Jenna Fisher, love the character Toby. You love Toby. And there is a Toby runner where he is taking an online driver's school course or something. And there's a series of scenes where we find out that Toby is a horrible driver.
This is such a random runner.
I know. It's not related to anything else. And Oscar has a great talking head talking about what it's like riding in a car with Toby. Anyway, apparently Toby is a horrible driver. And it just was so delightful. It made me laugh.
They probably created that for Paul so that he didn't have to be in any of the main scenes. They created a reason that his character was off doing something independently so he could actually be in the writer's room. They would do that a lot.
Yeah, so he was, through this whole episode, Toby is taking this online driver's school course. And we find out what a crappy driver he is.
I love it. Well, guys, that was Launch Party Part 1. We'll be back next week with Part 2.
Yeah. Look out, Denise Stims. Look out.
I don't think that Angela's going to win this one. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I hate to tell you, Buffalo's going to show you up.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys. Thank you for listening to Office Ladies. Office Ladies is produced by Earwolf, Jenna Fisher, and Angela Kinsey.
Our producer is Cody Fisher, our sound engineer is Sam Kiefer, and our associate producer is Ainsley Bubico.
Our theme song is Rubber Tree by Creed Bratton.
For ad-free versions of Office Ladies, go to StitcherPremium.com. For a free 1-month trial of Stitcher Premium, use code OFFICE.
No summer meal is really complete without the classic taste of Bush's baked beans.
They're the sweet, slow-cooked center of the barbecue-universe.
With the sweet taste of Bush's baked beans by their side, the savory flavors of burgers and brats can reach delicious new heights.
Bush's baked beans make the cookout, picnic, barbecue, family get-together meal beautiful.
Summer doesn't taste quite like summer without the sweet taste of Bush's baked beans.
Check out bushbeans.com/officeladies for more information.
Anyone can be ready for back to school, but with Staples Connect, you can be more than ready.
Like, I got everything for my classroom and saved a ton ready.
They've got more backpacks, more pens, and more supplies than you ever thought possible.
So, double knot your shoes, gas up the minivan, and get your list ready. Staples has everything you need and more for the new school year.
Just visit your nearest Staples store or go to staplesconnect.com for inspiration.
I'm Jenna Fisher.
And I'm Angela Kinsey.
We were on The Office together.
And we're best friends.
And now we're doing the Ultimate Office Rewatch podcast just for you.
Each week, we will break down an episode of The Office and give exclusive behind-the-scenes stories that only two people who were there can tell you.
We're the Office Ladies. Hey, gang.
Hey, everybody.
We are here this week to finish talking about Launch Party. It's Launch Party Part 2, and it is a launch party of the Dunder Mifflin Infinity website. It's a big deal.
Jinx.
Buy me a Coke. It's Season 4, Episode 6, written by Jen Salata and directed by Ken Whittingham. Here is a summary.
Do it.
This week, Michael returns to Scranton after realizing he was not invited to the big New York launch party for Dunder Mifflin Infinity, but instead he has to celebrate via webcam. So he decides to ramp up the launch party in Scranton, and he gives Angela a very long list of demands. Then he orders pizza. But when the pizza delivery guy refuses to honor Michael's half-off coupon, he holds him hostage in the conference room. Meanwhile, Andy tries to woo Angela to the dismay of Dwight.
Does he? He's relentless.
And a little charming.
And a little charming and a little douchey. We'll get there.
All right. Fast fact number 1. We have a big guest star alert.
Yes, we're so excited, you guys.
The pizza delivery guy was played by Kevin McHale. Now, you guys probably know Kevin because he would go on to be a regular on the TV show Glee. But this was about 2 years before that happened. This appearance on The Office was one of his first television acting jobs. So we reached out to him to hear how it all went down.
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for letting me slide into your DMs.
Angela really slid into his DMs,
Hey,
guys.
I always feel so weird, but he's a very nice person. I was like, hey, Angela and Jenna here. Hello. And he was wonderful. He sent us in audio clips, and here is what he had to say, you guys, about coming in to audition for the role. It's so charming. Sam, can you play that clip?
So what I remember about the audition is actually the callback, because the initial audition, no memory, but the callback, I was waiting in the stairwell. It was me and Dave Franco and a couple other guys. And then one of the casting assistants comes out and says, "Oh, we're going to start in a few minutes, but we just have to wait for Steve." And I'm someone who has terrible nerves. And I don't know if my manager didn't know and didn't tell me, but I was very unaware that Steve Carell was going to read with us for the callback. And I went in. I sat there and tried with all my might just to get the words out. And at some point, Steve Carell chuckled, looked at the casting director, and they chuckled, and I was like, oh my God, I made him laugh. And that was it. If I didn't get the job, I was happy enough just with that I made he and Allison Jones laugh. By the way, Allison Jones, the casting director, she was the first casting director to just continuously give me a chance when I hadn't worked or booked anything, and she kept getting me further and further along in these jobs, like this or Superbad, and she just kept putting me in the room, and I have her to thank for giving me any confidence to even continue to pursue acting at all.
That's Allison Jones.
Yeah, and then also Steve, just so gracious, coming there for those callbacks and being there in the scene with him like that. I mean, I just loved that story.
But I see why they asked Steve to pop in on this audition, because the pizza delivery guy, it's all him and Steve and Rain.
Yeah.
And Steve was a big star. And the last thing you want to do is hire someone and bring them to set, and then they freeze up because they're now performing not with a casting associate, but with this big star. So he did it. He made it through and he got the job.
Yeah, I like when he said I was just concentrating on getting the words out.
Well, he does a great job in this part. And guys, he sent in a few other audio clips that we'll sprinkle in throughout the episode.
Yeah. All right, so what's your fast fact number 2?
Okay, my fast fact number 2, and when I was researching this episode, I was going through my archives, and all this stuff started popping up from the 2007 Emmy Awards.
Yes! Oh, that was a fun one!
Yes, we shot this episode right around the same time as the Emmys, and this was the year that I was nominated.
I know! It was a big deal! We were so excited!
It was so cool, and I found a blog that I wrote on MySpace about getting the nomination. And
Oh,
it's so cute.
I gotta hear the ye olde MySpace blog. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
Here's what I wrote. Man, I am so excited. I just can't tell you what this means to me. Not because it is an award or something like that, but because it feels like it's for our gal Pam. She's a shy girl who doesn't get recognized very often, you know? It's like that shot from the episode with the art show where Pam is standing in front of her display waiting for the first visitor to come by. That just sums it all up for me. So I guess I feel it in that part of me that is Pam. The part that still gets excited to show my art and know people are responding to it. It's like, hey, people showed up to my art show.
Aw, that is so sweet, Jenna.
And you know what? I remember I did not win the Emmy. And I remember thinking, like, damn it, I wanted Pam to go up there and get her trophy. It was like her Dundies moment.
I know.
I really wanted to say, I feel God in this Emmys tonight.
I know. You were so excited. You had your opening line. It was going to crush. You would have crushed it.
I would have crushed it. But lady, you were my +1.
I know. I was about to say, I remember this year because you had a really hot date. It was me. We got to go together and it was a blast.
But it was also, if you remember, Angela, it was in the round.
I will never forget it. It was so bizarre. So, normally the Emmys is like in a traditional type theater where you sit in style seating, right? One row in front of the other. Well, this year, it's like the Television Academy decided to mix it up. And they put the seats in a circle, and the stage in the middle, a big circle. So it was like theater in the round. And Jenna, I remember where we were seated.
Oh, I knew the minute we took our seats, I wasn't going to win.
Oh, honey. We were in the back of the circle, so we faced everyone's butt all night. All night, we just saw real fancy people's asses. That's what we saw.
And we kept thinking, at some point, are they going to turn around and face our section? No, never once. The entire thing was performed as if there were not people sitting behind the speaker.
It was so bizarre. And, sometimes someone who would win would, like, sort of glance over their shoulder like, hey, guys, how are you back there? And we would get so excited. We were like, we're good, hi. But yeah, it just was an evening of fancy TV butts. That's what.
Yeah, it was very funny. But something else I noticed when I was seeing all these photos pop up from this time, Angela, was that my back was still not healed at the time. And there were a lot of restrictions on what I was allowed to wear and not wear. I couldn't wear anything that was too tight on my rib cage, too tight on my waist, and I could not wear high heels. So I have all these pictures of us on different red carpets, going to the various, pre-Emmys events and things, where I'm wearing these baggy dresses and like bejeweled flip-flops.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, I just felt like in that moment, you were like family for me. Because my sisters love a bejeweled flip-flop. They love it.
Yeah, I wore bejeweled flip-flops to the 2007 Emmy Awards.
And you got to look at people's butts. There you go.
It was a special time.
I was really bummed you didn't win, though. And I have no poker face. It's like when Steve didn't win year after year. It's a good thing the camera's not on me or whips away fast because it's all across my face. What the?
They really missed an opportunity for some good television by not having the camera on you every time one of us lost.
Oh, yeah. That's before the day of, like, the memes. My face would have been a meme. For sure.
All right, lady. Well, I'm going to move us on to fast fact number 3 because I've got a great big surprise for you.
I know. You've been a little braggy about this in text to me leading up. She's like, just wait for fast fact number 3. I'm like, okay, what is it?
I got the deep dive on Pam's plants.
Shut up!
Yep. I know everything about Pam's plants and who's responsible for them.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I was texting with Jen Salata last night, and Jen texted me, she said, Ange, I didn't even know that Pam had a plant at front reception until I started listening to your podcast. I need to know all of this. What? Tell me.
All right. I reached out to our set designer, Michael Gallenberg,
Yes.
who told me it was Steve Ducherer,
Steve.
the lead set dresser, yes, who was in charge of Pam's plants.
I had a feeling it would be him because he sort of like set that whole area every day.
Yes. Well, I called Steve.
You did?
Angela, yes, we had the best conversation.
Oh.
So I remembered Steve mainly as the guy who was always having to deal with our computers.
Yes, he would come, and also like if our lamps went out or just sort of like all the things on our desk that needed attention.
Yeah. Well, I told Steve that because he said, Jenna, do you remember me? And I said, yes, Steve, my memory of you is that you were always crouching under my desk dealing with my computer. And he laughed so hard. He said, well, that was probably 80% of my job.
Aww.
Was just dealing with all of the computers at your desk. He said he was the one that was in charge of finally setting up the speaker on Oscar's desk. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, all of that. So we really went down memory lane. But he also told me that he was in charge of all of the items on our desk, including all of the plants in the office. So here is what he told me about Pam's plants at reception.
Wait, did you tell him that I'm obsessed with them?
Yes, because I had to explain why I was suddenly calling him to ask him multiple questions about the plants on the reception desk. I had to give some context.
So he didn't think you were crazy.
No, I mean, he might still think we're crazy. But, I mean, he's like retired and living in Oregon now. So, all right, here is what he told me, Ange. So you might remember he had a little office on our stages that was behind Michael Scott's office.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. It was like a wooden, like they built him like a wooden kind of shed right there.
Yes, and lining his walls were all kinds of tchotchkes and things that he would place all around the office.
Yes.
So right outside of his office, he had a tiny, like, grow station and a plant care station for all of the plants in the office. He said for Pam's desk, he had only about 3 different plants, and they were in plastic pots, and he would rotate them randomly. But he had an assortment, as we've noticed, of ceramic pots. So that was how he kind of tried to make them look different. He said that it was absolutely, totally random what plant he put on the desk. Because I asked him about the flowering plant for beach games and if it was symbolic that Pam bloomed in that episode. And he laughed and he said, no, that's just a wonderful coincidence. He told me that Greg was very, very strict about the set decoration and that they were not allowed to change anything without Greg's permission. Tiny details, they would get in trouble. He said Greg never noticed the changing plants, and he never consulted Greg about the plants. It was his own little thing that he did each week.
Is his own small act of rebellion that he would
I think so.
have different plants?
Yes.
Well, Steve, I noticed.
Angela noticed, Steve. He said that he thinks he did a Christmas cactus once, and that over the holiday episodes, he would always try to do something maybe a little different. But mostly it was just these little ferns.
I will be looking for that Christmas cactus.
Oh, me too. I got so excited. I was like, oh, I don't think we've seen that yet. We haven't seen Christmas cactus.
No.
Everybody look out for Christmas cactus.
I'm going to have to go back to the Christmas episodes, but I do not remember a cactus.
Well, here's the other thing he told me, Angela. He would have to water all those plants. And if we ever went on a week-long hiatus, he would take all the plants off the set and he would put them under grow lights, and Tom Melby would come and water them on our breaks.
I believe that, Tom Melby. I believe that. That's so sweet. I remember, Steve, he would walk over to accounting and water the plant that was on the file cabinets between accounting and reception, and we would chit-chat.
Well, here's the other thing he told me.
What?
Not plant-related. Steve Ducherer was also in charge of all of the plaques around the office. He made all of them, including that one that trolled Kelly Cantley.
No.
Yep. He was also in charge of the whiteboard by accounting, and he said he was the one who wrote that Steve was robbed after the Emmys that one year.
Oh, I love it. Steve, look at you. You're like over there mixing up plants. You're writing secret messages on the message board.
Yes. He told me that this job was just his favorite, and it was wonderful. And we just talked about what a special thing we had. And he retired when the show ended. He was like, I don't think it's going to get better. And he retired.
Steve,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We've worked on other shows and we've had good experiences and things, but I have to say, it'd be pretty amazing to be able to just ride off in the sunset after a show like The Office, because it was that special.
Mm-hmm. Well, lady, you know you got me that Morgan Gassell watercolor of the Beasley's Botanicals for Christmas, everybody. Angela got me this. I mean, I could not be more excited.
This is Jenna's Christmas present from me. I got her, Morgan, you're so talented. You painted all of Pam's plants, and Morgan gave me the original. She also gave me a painting of all of Angela Martin's weird blouses.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes, and Jenna, and a coffee mug of Pam's Botanicals. Jenna.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Well, I sent a print of Beasley's Botanicals to Steve as a thank you.
Oh, that is so sweet.
I thought the man in charge should have a print as well.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
He also sent me a photo of himself in his office on stage. And now that I've told you, I can send it to you. And guys, he said we can put it up on Office Ladies Pod as well.
Oh, we will. And we'll put up some of Morgan's stuff so you can see in our stories. And this was wonderful. I loved it.
And guys, if you want to get one, go over to Society 6, it's the number 6, and search for Beasley's Botanicals. And it'll pop up and you can get one yourself. Well, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we will really get into this episode. Michael is not going to react well to the pizza delivery.
Oh, no. It's not going to be good.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You know, if you're feeling depressed or maybe even just a little bit off in your relationships, that could be a sign that you should talk to somebody.
You know, obviously this last year has been very stressful for everyone, and we're all trying to figure out how to get back in the world, and it can be a lot. Online therapy can help. BetterHelp is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online, and they can help you as, you know, this next year, there's going to be a lot of changes and transitions, and it's going to be a lot to process.
Yeah, you know, I've talked to a lot of people. We're still, as a world, going through a lot. And for some of us, dealing with grief. For some of us, re-entering social situations. And having tools and strategies. I don't know. That stuff always helps me, Ange. It always has. I've benefited a lot from therapy in my life. And I love that there is this option that can bring affordable options for therapy right to you in your home in a secure way.
You can get affordable professional help when you want it, wherever you are. BetterHelp is an affordable option, and our listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code OFFICELADIES.
Get started today at betterhelp.com/officeladies. Talk to a therapist online and get help. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door.
That's right. And HelloFresh makes it so easy to cook at home and fun and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit.
This summer, HelloFresh has everything you need to get grilling. They're doing grilling bundles, burger packs, surf and turf packs.
And they have calorie smart options. All of the HelloFresh recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity.
And I will tell you, they are delicious and they are simple. We are currently obsessed with the bulgogi bowl. It's part of our weekly rotation. We shop for the ingredients, we recreate this meal.
Well, we love HelloFresh, and you can go to HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadies14 and use code OfficeLadies14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping.
That's HelloFresh.com/OfficeLadies14 and code OfficeLadies14 for up to 14 free meals plus free shipping. All right, we are back, everyone, and we are going to open this episode with Michael and Jim returning from their very short road trip where they got, I don't even think, outside of Scranton before realizing that they're not invited to the big New York party.
So they come back, and Michael makes a big announcement, like he actually wanted to be at the Scranton branch party. He actually didn't want to go to New York, right?
Yes, and Stanley's like, wait, so we're not going home early?
Yeah.
Michael's like, no. In fact, Michael calls Angela into his office and he says to Angela, I want this party to be sexier, cooler, and more important than the one in New York. And he gives her a list of demands.
Yeah. Let's just talk about this list for a minute, okay? Now, remember, the party starts in 1 hour.
Yeah.
This is the list. Ready? Beer, light beer, streamers, orchids, better lighting, something made of ice, pizza, pizza with mushrooms, pizza without mushrooms, white pizza, steak, chocolates, someone famous, cool music, confetti, go-go dancers, maybe Al Roker.
Yeah.
Guess what? Michael says he'll get the pizza since Angela's going to do all those other things in 1 hour.
Yeah. I mean, he wants the people in New York to be jealous that they got Al Roker to attend in Scranton. How is that so hard to understand, Angela?
I don't know. Just go get some go-go dancers and some steak. Possibly change the whole lighting scheme of the office. That'd be great. Thanks.
But he tells Angela if anyone can do it, it's you. But actually, if there is someone who could do it better, could you let him know? What was it like for you to do that scene with Steve? Were you improvising any of the things on that list as you were reading them off, or was that pretty much scripted?
No, that was pretty much scripted. And it was really fun because Steve has to interrupt me. And I just loved doing scenes with him. It felt like I got to be like in this comedic dance, you know, and except I'm dancing with like the best comedian in town. It just was so fun. I was like, you know how you have like a body buzz, you know?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I had that kind of feeling going in there to get to do scenes with him. And I loved every single second. And he would be so generous. We've talked about this, but he'd let me have a moment. Like when I say steak and I look at him, you know, like he just let all of that breathe.
I know exactly that body buzz you're talking about because I would get that feeling every time I'd get a script and be like, oh, there's a Pam Michael scene. I get Steve all to myself.
Yeah. And he's just so good. I mean, I feel like every person in a scene with Steve makes that person better.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love that scene. I rewound it and watched it a second time just because it was so delightful.
Yeah. And I had to memorize that list, guys. I'm not reading off.
Oh my gosh, that wasn't written on the piece of paper for you?
No, I mean, maybe the prop department had a list, but I had to learn that.
Well, and it's important because some of those elements are going to come up later, right?
Yeah.
So you had to make sure you said certain things.
Yeah.
Well, next up, Andy is trying to talk to Dwight to see what does he think about Angela. Does he think that Andy should go after Angela? And Dwight is like, no.
The first thing he says, which if you speak Dwight, you know is one of the highest compliments he could give anyone. He says, she's efficient.
Well, that's like stabbing Dwight in the heart right there.
Yeah.
That he's lost such an efficient woman.
Yeah, and, you know, Dwight does not obviously want Andy to make a play for Angela, so he tells her it's inappropriate to date someone at work, and he could actually date Kelly because she's in the annex. Like, he can date Kelly or Toby,
but not anyone in their immediate bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, now Michael triumphantly announces that he has ordered pizza from everybody's favorite place. Everyone gets kind of excited until they learn that Michael ordered pizza from the wrong place.
Well, you know, clearly the favorite of Dunder Mifflin is Alfredo's Pizza Cafe. And Michael has ordered from Pizza by Alfredo's, which Kevin describes as like eating a hot circle of garbage.
Well, Michael asks, what's better, a medium amount of good pizza or all you can eat of pretty good pizza? And everyone is like, a medium amount of good pizza.
Yes. Jenna, this sent me on one of the craziest deep dives I have done in the year that we've been podcasting together.
Well, I hope that you're going to tell me some stuff about Alfredo's Pizza Cafe because we got a fan question about this.
Oh, yes. and more. More information than you'll ever want to know.
All right. Well, Catalina Rizzi and Paisley Zeladon would like to know, are Pizza by Alfredo and Alfredo's Pizza Cafe actual pizza places in Scranton?
Well, Alfredo's Pizza Cafe is in fact a real pizza place. It's opened every day. It's still open in Scranton. And Pizza by Alfredo is a made-up place that the writers made up. But Alfredo's Pizza Cafe is in Scranton, and you can still get pizzas from there today.
And Angela, I'll have you know, Angela, the character, could have ordered steak because Alfredo's Pizza Cafe also serves steak, burgers, and pasta.
Oh, yeah, it's a cafe. It's like a restaurant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was very curious. I just wrote in Alfredo's Pizza into my Google search.
Okay.
Because I was like, I wonder if this is just in Scranton, or do we have Alfredo's Pizza other places, right?
Yep.
So here we go. In Homewood, Alabama, there's Alfredo's Pizza Cafe. In California, there's Alfredo's Pizza. In Los Angeles. In Colorado, there's an Alfredo's Pizza in Denver. In Connecticut, there's an Alfredo's Restaurant and Pizza in Gaylordsville. In Delaware, there's an Alfredo's Pizza Gallery in Seaford. In Florida, there's an Alfredo's Pizza and Restaurant in Cooper City. In Illinois, there's an Alfredo's Pizza and Pasta in Lake in the Hills. In Iowa, there's an Alfredo Pizza. We'll let it slide, Iowa. That's in Sioux City. In Maine, there's Alfredo's Italian Pizzeria in Wells. In Maryland, there's Osteria Alfredo in Easton. In Massachusetts, there's Alfredo's Italian Kitchen in Boston, Somerville, and Medford. In New Jersey, there's an Alfredo's in Carteret. There's an Alfredo's Restaurant and Pizzeria in Point Pleasant. There's a Cafe Alfredo's in Somerset. In New York, there's an Alfredo's Pizza Cafe in New Rochelle. In North Carolina, there's an Alfredo's Pizza Villa in Chapel Hill. Alfredo's Ristorante Italiano in Clinton. Wait for it. In Ohio, there's Alfredo's Pizzeria in Salem. In Pennsylvania, there's Alfredo's Pizza and Restaurant in Scranton. And Alfredo's Pizza and Grill in Swiftwater. In South Dakota, there's an Alfredo Pizza in Vermilion. We'll let it slide, South Dakota. In Texas, there's Alfredo's Pizza and Pasta in Dallas, Alfredo's in Plano, and Alfredo's in Louisville. Utah has Chef Alfredo's in St. George and Cedar City. Virginia has Alfredo's in Bristol. Now, are you ready for this? Who has the most that comes up in a Google search? West Virginia. West Virginia has Alfredo's in Somerville, Alfredo's Italian Pizzeria in Petersburg, Alfredo's Pizza of Rainville, Lewisburg, White Silver Springs, Buckhannon, Alfredo's Italian and Greek, because, okay, in Marlinton, and Alfredo's in the Crossroads Mall in Mount Hope.
I love you.
There's Alfredo's everywhere.
I love you.
There's Alfredo's everywhere.
Guys, I watched Angela as she listed all of the Alfredos, and it was 3 pages long.
Well, if I didn't say your state, it's because there was no Alfredo's that came up in the Google search, but I looked up every single state.
Well, you know, the one in Scranton is not actually called Alfredo's Pizza Cafe. It's just called Alfredo's Cafe.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And it says their slogan.
Please tell me their slogan is, "We're not a hot circle of garbage." Because if that's not their slogan, it should be.
Here is Alfredo's Cafe's slogan. We're not fine dining. We're just fine food.
I like it. I still think not a hot circle of garbage might be something they should consider.
Well, Alfredo's, you heard it from Jenna. Get your marketing team on it.
Yeah.
She's not wrong. I want to talk
about something from this scene that has nothing to do with the pizza.
Okay.
Can we please talk about your weird ass blouse in this episode?
Oh, Jenna.
I'm sorry.